Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 50th chapter. Krishna establishes Dwarka. Beginning with which text? 45. Okay, that's right, all right. Tam drishtva chintayat Krishna sankarshana sahayavan aho yadunam vrijinam praptam I ubayato Mahat Tam Drisva Chintayat Krishna Sankarshana Sahayavan Aho Yadunam Srijinam Praptam Yabayato Mahat Tam Drisva Chintayat Krishna Sankarshana Sahayavan Aho Yadunam Vrijinam Praptam Yubayato Mahat Tam Drisva Chintayat Krishna Sankarshana Sahayavan Aho Yadunam Vrijinam Praptam Yubayato Mahat. Ladies? Tam, him, drishtva, seeing, achintayat, thought, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Sankarsana, by Lord Balaram, Sahayavan, assisted, Aho, Yada, Yadunam, excuse me, for the Yadavas. Vijanam, a problem. Praptam, arrived. He, indeed. Ubayata, from both sides. From Kalyavana and also from Jarasandha. Mahat, great. Translation, when Lord Krishna and Lord Sankarshan saw Kalyavan, Krishna thought about the situation and said, a great danger now threatens the Yadus from two sides. Translation, please repeat. When Lord Krishna and Lord Sankarshan saw Kalyavana, Krishna thought about the situation and said, a great danger now threatens the Yadus from two sides. Purport, we may know that although Sri Krishna had defeated Jarasandha 17 times against tremendous odds, he did not immediately annihilate the army of Kalyavana, thus keeping intact the benediction granted by Gargya by Lord Shiva, as explained in the previous purport. So we'll go. How far did we go? Up to text what? Right. Yavano yam nirunde sman adyatvavan mahabala magadopi yadyatnavas svova parasro bhagamischati. This Yavana is besieging us already, and the mighty king of Magad will soon arrive here. If not today, then tomorrow or the next day. Avayo yudyato rasya yadi aganta jarasuta bandun hanisya ta atava nisyate swapuram bali. If powerful Jarasandha comes while we are too busy, we too are busy fighting Kalyavana, Jarasandha may kill our relatives or else take them away to his capital. Text 48. Tasmad adya vidasyamo durgan dvipada durgamam tatra gyatin samadadya yavanam gatayamahe. Therefore, we will immediately construct a fortress that no human force can penetrate. Let us settle our family members there and then kill the barbarian king. Text 49. Iti sammantra bhagavan durgam dvadasha yojanam anta samudri nagaram krishnad bhutam achikarat. Translation. After thus discussing the matter with Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead had a fortress 12 yojanas in circumference, built within the sea. Inside that fort, he had a city built containing all kinds of wonderful things. 50 to 53. Drisyate yatra hi tvastram Vijnanam Shilpanai Punam Ratya Chatvara Viti Bir Yatha Vastu Vinirmitam Suradruma Latodhyana Vichitro Pavananvitam Hema Sringar Divi Sprigbi Spatikatala Gopurai Rajatamakutai Kostair Hema Kumbair Alankritai Ratnakutay Ragihayar Hemayar Mahamarakat Marakatastalai Vasto Patinam Chagrinhayar Balabibischa Nirmitam Chaturvarnya Janakirnam Yadudeva Griholasat. Translation: in the construction of that city could be seen the full scientific knowledge and architectural skill of Vishwakarma. There were wide avenues, commercial roads, and courtyards laid out on simple plots of land. There were splendid parks, and also gardens stocked with trees and creepers from the heavenly planets. The gateway towers were topped with golden turrets touching the sky, and their upper levels were fashioned of crystal quartz. The gold-covered houses were adorned in front with golden pots, and atop with jeweled roofs, and their floors were inlaid with precious emeralds. Beside the houses stood treasury buildings, warehouses, and stables for fine horses, all built of silver and brass. Each residence had a watchtower and also a temple for its household deity. Filled with citizens of all four social orders, the city was especially beautiful by the palaces of Sri Krishna, the Lord of the Yadus. Purport by the followers of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that the state highways, Ratyaha, were in front and the secondary roads, Vityaha, behind. And between them were courtyards, Chatvarani. Within these courtyards were surrounding walls, and within the walls stood golden residences, atop which shone crystal watchtowers crowned with golden pots. Thus the buildings were multi-storied. The word Vastu indicates that the houses and buildings were constructed on ample plots of land and with plenty of room for green areas. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militandena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svaparandigam Adadanastridandantai Bridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhu Vaibhacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So yesterday we heard how Kala Yavana attacked with 30 million barbarian soldiers. So then Krishna began to worry that it's due time for Jarasandha to attack 18th time. If we're very busy, both of us, here says Sankarshanaya, that also Sankarshan, Balaram. If we're both busy fighting Kala Yavana, then if Jarasandha attacks, then he may kill our relatives or take them away. So Krishna began to think what to do in this situation. So after due consideration, he called Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma is the engineer of the demigods. How many engineers we have here today? We have few, huh? So Vishwakarma, he's the engineer of the demigods. And here this word Vastu is mentioned many times. He knew the science of constructing things properly. And lately this science is beginning to gain momentum again. Because if we construct according to Vastu, then things go very, very nicely. Nothing can be perfect. It's very difficult to get perfect Vastu, because nothing in this world is perfect. But we can try the best we can, and we can live somewhat peacefully. There's no question of peaceful in this material world, but somewhat peacefully we can live. So here's described, he made beautiful palaces of gold. He made even stables out of silver, and warehouses and treasury houses out of silver, and beautiful gates that stretched up to the sky with golden turrets and crystal toppings, and so many wonderful parks and gardens and highways all laid out very nicely. Just like if you go to Jaipur, you can see everything is laid out in the whole walled city. Anyway, everything is laid out very scientifically. Or if you go to Chandigarh, everything is all laid out very with great regulation. In fact, whenever we go for Rath Yatra there, it's like we went around the block 20 times. Because we come to the shopping center, then behind the shopping center, there's multi-story buildings, and then there's the single-family residences, then there's the multi-story residences, then the shopping center comes again, and then it goes like that. You just feel like you're going around the blocks at the same time. It's the most boring city I've ever seen. But here, Dwarka is described very beautiful with parks and trees and creepers and flowering trees and fruit trees. Just like we see, mainly the government plants all kinds of useless trees. Prabhupada said, if a tree doesn't produce any fruit, that is a useless tree. Must produce some sort of fruit. So we see all the avenues, mainly there's useless trees. But here, fruit trees were there, flowering trees were there. Beautiful city was there. All laid out by Vishwakarma. And totally amazing place. Even today, if you go to Dwarka, what's left of it, because it was sunk into the ocean, but that city called Dwarka, actually the head pujari of a Dwarka temple, he explained to me, because we'll read in the future here, Krishna, during the night, he transferred all the Yadavas to Dwarka. And they woke up in these beautiful golden palaces with beautiful parks and gardens, and everyone began to become amazed. What is this place? And here it says that no human force could enter that place. In fact, there was a high wall all around. And everybody kept looking for the Dwar. So the head pujari told me, everyone was saying, Dwarkaha, Dwarkaha. So that city became known as Dwarka. So anyway, in the night they were all transferred there to a very beautiful place. And if you go there today, it's one of the cleanest cities, at least, I don't know, I haven't been for many years, but when I used to go, it was always very clean and neat. Almost everywhere we go, we see just so much plastic and garbage on the sides of the streets, and a very beautiful, clean place. And everybody's very in happy mood there. And in the temple we see all the pujaris, not like Braj, where they're always attacking you and harassing you. They're very happily doing their service. They all have bagalbandis like this, but pastel colors, pink and blue and green, with silver and gold trim like this. And they're all very happily doing their service. And somehow or other, whenever there's arati, because you see he's there with Chaturbhuj, with Shankha, Gada, Padma, and what am I missing? Disc. So, but during the arati, they always give him a flute. Just to remind us that he's actually Krishna. And I don't know if it's still there, but it's one of the few places I've seen, because like here we have nice, brahmachari ashram, big community. So whenever there's artik or kirtan, we all come, we're playing kartals, playing mridangas, and hopefully not those African drums. I hate those. But it's not like that. There's no brahmachari ashram and like that. So they have a artik machine. When the guy does artik, he pushes a button, he flips a switch, and somehow or other the drum, bang, 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 bell is going ding, 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 and gong is going bang, bang, bang. They have artik, at least last time I was there, they had artik machine. Not like here. Just like, I can remember, for us growing up in the West, artik always meant just like morning time, samsara dava nadlalida loka. And then for darshan artik, govindam haripurusham tamaham bhajami. And sometime for Raj Bhoga artik, yasomati nandana brajobara nagara. Then for Gaur artik, Kiva Jayo Jaya Gora Chande. So for us, artik meant kirtan. Because actually in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, Navavida Bhakti Purna Nama Hoite Kaya. That we've heard about this Navavida Bhakti. We just had this in Sringar Chaturasi about a month ago. So we heard that Prahlad Maharaj is expounding on this Navavida Bhakti. But Chaitanya Charitamrita says that's not enough. All of these things, Purna Nama Hoitiha. You have to add Nam Sankirtan. So we see how scientifically Prabhupada did everything. Artik, there's kirtan, everything there's kirtan, even for wedding means kirtan, means Swaha, Haribol, and Mahaprasadi Govinde. ISKCON wedding is very simple. Otherwise, indeed, wedding goes on for 3-4 days. But ISKCON temple is Swaha, Haribol, and Mahaprasadi Govinde. So with everything we add Nam Sankirtan. So when we first came to India, we were shocked. We go to some temple and the artik would come. No Nam Sankirtan. We got big shock. What is this? For us, artik means kirtan. So anyway, Vishwakarma, he really showed off his skill, and here it says Nipun, he's very expert. His expertise, and Vastu, he built everything according to Vastu, and everything was very nice. So we'll see how Krishna, in the night, he transfers everybody there. And Vishwakarma, he's a very special person for us in Braj, because Vishwakarma, he was a very great devotee of the sun god, Bibhiswan. And he had a very, very beautiful daughter. Her name was Sandhya. You can follow? Gya, we know from Gyan. And some, just like Kirtan is fine, but we make it nice, all the devotees together. Sankirtan. So complete knowledge means awareness. So he thought, what better wife for the sun than awareness? Because as soon as the sun goes down, then we're not aware of anything. We can't see, we have to put so many lights. But as soon as the sun rises in the morning, then we become aware of everything. Even if those lights are still on, they're insignificant. We become aware of everything. So what better wife for the sun than Sangha, awareness? So with great pomp and ceremony, he got his daughter married with Vivasvan. Then when Vivasvan approached his wife, she shut her eyes. And he became very angry. Hare, why you shut your eyes? Because of this, from this union, you will get a son who will make everyone shut their eyes, and everyone will be afraid of your son. Now, Sandhya, she wasn't a modern Western woman who'll start a big fight with her husband. She was a very smart Indian lady. What did she do? She began to massage on his feet. Oh, Swami, what can I do? You're so bright. I couldn't help myself. Please forgive me. No harsh word, but automatically husband is feeling bad within his heart. No harsh word. It's very clever. And he said, oh, then mercy came. See, she was very clever. She got mercy. He said, what can I do? I cannot take this curse back, but I bless you that you will get a daughter who will free everyone from the fear of your son. So she gave birth to twins, Yam and Yami. Yam, Yamaraj, who makes everyone shut their eyes. And everyone's very much afraid of Yamaraj. And Yami, Yamuna. If we take our bath in Jamuna, we become free from all our sins. Then we have no more fear of Yamaraj. So our Jamuna, Jai Sisi, Gornitai Sisi, RadhaRasbihari, Sisi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. So Jamuna, she is the daughter of the sun god. Therefore we call her Surya Putri. Bhanu Nandini. Sometimes Bhanu Maharaj comes here. Bhanu means sun. Bhanu Putri, Bhanu Nandini, Tarni Tanuja, Mitra Nandini. Another name for sun is Mitra. Mitra Nandini, Mitra Putri. All these names are there. And on this planet, she first falls down on top of Kalinda Parvat. Therefore her name is Kalindi. Or Kalinda Nandini. Or even more sweet, Kalindagiri Nandani. Say it. Kalindagiri Nandani. Giri we know means mountain, so Kalindagiri Nandini, the daughter of the Kalinda mountain. And her waters are always blackish. If you go to Prayag, anybody been to Prayag? Not so many, huh? If you go to Prayag, you will see Ganga is coming from this side, very golden color. And Jamuna coming from this color, very blackish color, deep blue. And at the Sangam, you can actually see the waters mixing. So her other name is Krishna. She's very dear to Krishna, so she's Krishna Priya. And our Rupa Goswami has given a very, very beautiful name to Jamuna. He has a very beautiful Jamunastakam, 8 prayers glorifying Jamuna. There he calls her Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandini. Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandini. So Sarvada, we know, means at all times, always. Sarvadara, Sarvadara Binda. Arabinda, you know, means lotus. Sarvadara Binda Bandhu. Just like if there's a bond between us, then we're bandhus, we're friends. It's like Dinbandhu. So Arabinda, Sarvadara Binda Bandhu. That he's always that person who's always the friend of the lotus flowers. And who's the friend of the lotus flowers? I will give you a hint. When moon will rise, just like tonight, a beautiful full moon will be there. But every lotus will close her face. She doesn't want to see the moon. But as soon as moon will rise, every lotus will open with big smile to see. As soon as the sun will rise, every lotus will open with big smile to see the sun. So, who's always the friend of the lotuses is the sun. Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandini. the daughter of the friend of all the lotus flowers. Suryaputri Jamuna. And in that Jamunastakam, one of my favorite verses is there. Ramyatira Rambamana Gokadamba Bhushita Divya Gandha Bhakadamba Pusparaja Rushita Nandasuno Bhakta Sangam Sangam Abhinandani Mam Punatu Sarvadara Dinbandhu Nandani Mam Punatu Sarvadara Dinbandhu Nandani. Everyone. Mam Punatu Sarvadara Dinbandhu Nandani. So he says, Ramyatira. Just like we know in Vrindavan, we have one Thakurji, very dear to all the devotees. Radha Raman. That one who loves Radharani. But when we make it Ramya, then it means lovely. And Tira we know, we sing every day. Tira means bank. Not the ones that are ripping us off, but the banks of the river. So Jamuna, she has very Ramani banks. Ramyatira Rambamana Gokadamba Bhushita. Here the word Kadamba has come, and we know the tree and we know the flower. Just like we are in Chopati and they have the beautiful Vrindavan garden there, but they don't have they have the Bengali Kadam with big flowers like this. They were just coming when we were there. But our Keli Kadam, our Vrindavan Kadam, is very small like this. But actually that flower is called Kadamba because in Sanskrit, Kadamba means group, dal, samu. Because you see the Kadamba flower, it's not one flower, but it's a whole ball of flowers, whole group of flowers. And just very slight golden hue, just like Srimati Radhika. So the Kadamba tree is a symbol of Srimati Radharani. And Krishna loves those smell of Kadambas and the beautiful Kadamba garlands. And the tamal tree, just like here in your courtyard we have a bale tree and a bakul tree, but in Vrindavan we have a tamal tree. And you see they're always very crooked and blackish. Because when gopis are looking for Krishna, they've got tears in their eyes, they can't see clearly. They just see something is crooked and blackish, and they embrace the tamal trees. So that's symbol of Krishna. And if you happen to see a tamal tree and a kadamba tree growing together, then that's like getting sakshat darshan of Radha and Krishna. Some places we go in Braj, like Bandirvan, we see a tamal tree and kadamba tree growing together. So here it says, Go Kadamba, not talking about flowers, we're talking about which group? Go. Go means cows. Groups of cows. Go Kadamba Bhushita. This word comes from the word abhushan, ornament, jewelry. Just like we see all the ladies, they too much like to have jewelry. So Jamuna, she's also a lady, she likes jewelry. But her jewelry is little white and black and yellow and reddish cows wandering along her banks just like a necklace. And those cows are going Rambamana. You know Rambamana? Rambamana means all those cows are going So this is Jamuna's jewelry. Little white and black and yellow and reddish cows making this wonderful sound, moving along her banks just like a necklace. Ramyatira Rambamana Gokadamba Bhushita Divya Gandha Bhakadamba Pusparaja Rushita. Again the word Kadamba has come. This time it's talking about the tree or the flower. Rupa Goswami get two meanings in one line. One, we can take it that the banks of the Jamuna are covered with so many beautiful Kadamba trees. Or we can take it that the Kadamba tree is filled with so many beautiful flowers. Because now it's June, so just now the kadambas will start to bloom. If you want to see the blooming kadambas, you have to go when it's only nice, cool 45 degrees. Then the kadambas come. And thousands are there, completely covered with kadamba flowers. Then in July, if the rain comes, then again there's second bloom. Nice rain is their second blooming of the kadamba trees. So, Divya Gandha. Divya we know almost like English, divine. And Gandha means fragrance. Divya Gandha Bhakadamba Pusparaja Rushita. And this divine fragrance is flowing in all directions. Just like at Brindakund, there's many kadamba trees growing. And during the season, the Mali who's there, he makes nice kadamba garlands for Giriraj and Vrindadevi. And even from the back of the temple, you can smell this wonderful fragrance drifting back to even if you're in the back of the temple. And during the arati, it's just like we read in the Bhagavatam, how the bees are coming. So Pujari is doing arati and all the bees are coming all around Vrindadevi's garland. Like that. So this divine fragrance is flowing in all directions. Nanda Suno. Nanda Suno means the son of Nanda Maharaj. So Hirupa Goswami doesn't say Krishna. Just like there may be so many Krishnas. We were just in Kashmir. There was one little 11-year-old boy. His name was also Krishna. So Rupa Goswami is very specific. We want that Nanda Suno, that one who's the son of Nanda Maharaj. Just like when you go to the guest house in India, first question, what is your name? Second question is, what is your father's name? Because there may be so many Bhikubai Patels, but we want the one who's the son of Arabinda Patel. So Rupa Goswami is very specific. He says, Nanda Suno, that son of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Suno Bhakta Sangha. Bhakta Sangha, those people who are the devotees of that son of Nanda Maharaj. Sangam, to all of them. Because some came from over this side, some came from over there, some came from over here, some came from this side, some came from behind, some came from that side. All of them come in early in the morning to take their bath in Jamuna. And Jamuna, Nanda Suno Bhakta Sangam, Sangam Abhinandani. She's doing the Abhinandan of all the devotees of that son of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Suno Bhakta Sangam, Sangam Abhinandani. She's welcoming all the devotees in the morning who've come to take their baths. Mam Punatu Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandani. May the gently flowing waves of that daughter of the friend of all the lotus flowers always purify your heart. Mam Punatu Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandani. Everyone. Mam Punatu Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandani. So in this way, this is the beautiful history of Jamuna. And in Padma Puran, there's one section where Narad Muni is talking to Maharaj Yudhisthira, and he says that this Jamuna, she's so pure and purifying. She's so wonderful, so Shaktishali, she's so powerful. If anyone has never taken his bath in her holy waters, then his whole life is Byart. You know Byart? Byart means useless and juiceless. So how many people have taken bath in Jamuna? But many have not, huh? So now your whole life is useless. Ahead, Narad Muni says, actually this Jamuna, she's so powerful. She's so purifying that even if you just remember Jamuna, all your sins will go very far away. So every day we chant this Jai Radha Madhav, and that song Jamuna comes. We remember Jamuna. So even sitting here in Mumbai, we're getting our Jamuna Snan. So our life is not useless. And on Jamuna, so many ghats are there. Of course, the most famous is Kaliya Ghat. It's nearby. If you go down the Prikrama Marg and you come and it turns, that Prikrama Marg is now where the Jamuna river used to flow. That was the bank of the Jamuna. Now everybody is occupied. Occupied, what do you say? The squatters are there anyway. Jamuna's gone far away. We're dumping all our black water on her, so she's moving away. But that corner there, that's Barahagat, and the old bank of the Jamuna. But if you turn the other way, then you come to a village called Sanrak and a place called Ramtal. This is where there was one rishi named Sobari Rishi. He was meditating in the waters of Jamuna, very powerful, under the water. We've seen the pictures of the yogis sitting up to their neck in the cold water in the winter and sitting in a circle of fire. You go to Kumbh Mela, they all put all these cow dung patties all around them and sitting in the hot sun. But he was under the water. And Garuda would come there sometimes to eat the fish. Although he's a Vaishnava, he's a bird, so bird, he's an eagle, so eagle's natural food is fish. So, because he was living with all the fish, he became friends with them, he became sentimental. That these fish are my friends, why this character is coming. So he did a big aparad. First aparad was he thought that he can instruct Garuda. Garuda is the carrier of Lord Vishnu. We should not try to instruct a senior Vaishnava. We see him, even if we see him doing something wrong, we should go to his godbrother and say, I saw like this, you please tell him not to do like that. We should not ourselves try to instruct the older. And then he told him, you don't come here and eat these fish. Garuda still came. So then second aparad, he cursed Garuda. That if you try to take fish from here, this place on Jamuna, then you will die. So he committed all these aparadas to great Vaishnava Garuda. As a result of that Vaishnava aparad, he lost his yogic power. He was very powerful under the water. But sometimes he saw the fish were enjoying their pastimes, and he became agitated. And he thought, I want to get married and enjoy like this. So he came out of the water and he went to Mathura. There was a king there named Manduka Maharaj. And Manduka Maharaj had 50 very beautiful daughters. So he told the king, I want to marry one of your daughters. And if you're just washing the dishes for half hour or so, what happens to your hands? They become all white and wrinkled up. He was under the water for thousands of years. We can't imagine what he looked like. And the king, he didn't want to get a curse, so he didn't want to deny the rishi. But kings are kings because they're very clever. They can figure, and very political. So he said, well, whichever one of my daughters wants to marry you, she can marry you. He got out of it, If one of the daughters wants to marry you, she can marry you. But rishis are also very clever. He understood the Rajniti of the king. So by his mystic power, he made his body very beautiful and handsome. And all the 50 girls, they gave up their sisterly affection and began to fight with one another. He's for me. No, no, no. He's for me. No, no, no. He's for me. No, no. He's for me. Not for you. He's for me. He's mine. No, no. They gave up their sisterly affection and began to fight. So he married all the 50 girls. by his Vaishnava aparad, he not only fell into the deep dark well of household life one time, 50 times. Of course, later he renounced everything and he went with his wives and they performed penances and austerities. But anyway. So there was an island, we've been there, now it's known as Fiji. That name was Brahmanak Island. You know? And many, many snakes lived there. And one snake was there, Kaliya. And Garuda used to come there because eagles, they also like to eat snakes. Huh? So finally they made a deal with him that we'll make a nice offering if you please leave us alone. But Kaliya was very puffed up. It came his turn to make the offering. He made a nice feast and then he sat there and ate it all. And Garuda came and he tried to attack a Garuda. And Garuda with his golden wings, he just smashed that Kaliya like anything. And that Kaliya, he was so perturbed, he was so upset, he fled away and Garuda was right behind him. But he knew about this history of Sobari Rishis, so he went to the Jamuna, that place in Vrindavan, that we now know as Kaligat, that whole place, a big lake was there. And he took shelter there because he knew Garuda can't come. So, then the whole Jamuna from that spot onwards became polluted. Just like nowadays, Kali has appeared again in the form of industrial waste. And Jamuna has become completely, she's also black now, but not this pleasing bluish black. If you see, you'll be frightened. And they're just reading in Vrindavan today, last night, that now previously, during the summer, Jamuna becomes small, so all those floodplains, they used to grow watermelons that were so famous, they would, even to Bidesh, they would send those watermelons. But now, because the Jamuna is so polluted, the taste is not there. All the watermelons, they're dying. Even if they become ripe, they don't have the same taste. All the watermelon farmers are going broke. I was just reading this article. So again, Kaliya has come in the form of industrial waste. So, anyway, one day Krishna and all the cowherd boys and the calves, they came there to the bank of the Jamuna, and they had been playing in the forest, and they were very thirsty. Like I explained the other day, the first word that our foreign devotees learn in Hindi, pani, because it's very hot and you get very thirsty. So they saw the cool waters of Jamuna. They all ran down. The calves and cowherd boys drank the water before Krishna could do anything, and they all died. Then Krishna, just by his merciful glance, he brought all the cowherd boys and calves, thousands of calves and thousands of cowherd boys. We hear stories about somebody raising one person from the dead or something. Krishna raised thousands of people and thousands of calves from the dead just by his merciful glance. And he understood this is a work of Kaliya. And this lake was so polluted, even if a bird flew over it just from the fume, that bird would drop dead into the water. And all the trees on the banks had dried up. It's like now the watermelons are drying up. So, some Puranas say that there was one tree that hadn't dried up. One Kadamba tree was there. So some Puranas say that Garuda, when he stole the nectar, he dropped one drop there on that tree. And it became an eternal Kadamba tree. Other Puranas say, because we're going to see, Krishna, he knew this was, Kali had done this. He climbed that tree. As soon as it was touched by Krishna's lotus feet, it became an eternal Kadamba tree. Two versions are there. So the tree may be 5,000 years old, maybe 5 million years old, we don't know. But now it's become an eternal Kadamba tree. In fact, the Brishbazis, if you go there, you'll see, it looks like the old tree has fallen down like that. And you see new tree coming up behind. So the Brishbazis tell, I don't have any praman, but anyway, they sell that way the old tree dies, a new one comes up, and then a new one, and like that, it's eternally renewing. It's become an eternal Kadamba tree. So Krishna climbed in that Kadamba tree. He flopped his arms like the Indian wrestlers. And he tightened his belt, and he jumped into the Jamuna and began to swim, making lots of noise. Pow, 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 pow. So Kaliya heard this. He said, somebody has invaded my home. Who is that? And he came up and he saw Krishna, and he just wrapped him in his coils. And Krishna was wrapped in the coils of Kaliya. And Kali had hundreds and thousands of hoods, and he was just staring at Krishna with his beady eyes, And Krishna was there. And all of a sudden, earthquakes were there, foul winds began to blow, jackals began to cry. Sometimes I used to stay at Brindakon, and people say, you're not afraid to stay out there all alone? Sometimes Dacoit will come or something. And the only thing that bothers me is at night, the jackals are crying. Oh, that makes your skin crawl. So jackals were crying, meteors were seen in daylight. Everyone knew something must have happened to Kanhaiya. So they all ran to the Jamuna, and everyone came and they saw Krishna's wrapped in the coils of Kaliya. And they practically lost their lives. Even Mother Yasoda, she tried to enter into the waters to save Krishna. And somehow Baldao, he stopped her. He began to smile. It's just a little water samp. What's it going to do? Nothing, there's nothing. Balaram, he was very calm about it. He stopped Mother Yasoda and she fainted. And Radharani and all the Sakhis came, and Radharani also fainted. For 2 hours, Krishna was wrapped there in the coils of Kaliya. When the Brishbasis were just about to leave their bodies from fright, because actually this was a special mercy on the Brishbasis, because they were intensely meditating on Krishna. They were very intensely meditating. Looked from the outside, looked like they were suffering, but they were relishing. Just like I told you before, I joined in Boulder, Colorado. That's at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. It snows there. So we used to go on kirtan in the snow, And people used to think, oh, these poor people, But we had to concentrate completely on the holy name, because if you forgot that holy name, then, what am I doing here? We were in ecstasy. In fact, we were the only people on the street with smiles from ear to ear. Everybody else had their big overcoats and their caps and mufflers, and one girl came by and she saw the smiles of the devotees. She stood there watching the kirtan party till her hands froze. Then she had to go to the department store and get some mittens, and she came back, and later she became a devotee. So the Brishbasis were meditating very intensely on Krishna, and then suddenly he slipped out of Kaliya's coils. And he jumped on one of his hoods. And Krishna began to dance. And Kali raised up another hood. And he kicked that one and jumped onto that one. And Krishna was dancing so sweetly that even Nataraj, Lord Shiva, he's the Nataraj, he's the king of dance. Even he couldn't understand the rhythm of Krishna's dance. Even Brahma came with his 4 heads. He couldn't understand. And Krishna's stage was going up and down. Any of the girls here taking dance lessons? Anybody knows, Odissi or Kathakali or something? We don't have any dancers here, huh? Usually we have 1 or 2. Anyway, you want a stage that's very stable, just like sometimes India, they don't, especially Vrindavan anyway, it's a little like this, but you want a stage that's very stable. But Krishna's stage was going up and down, and he was dancing in such a way that even Lord Shiva was bewildered. And he would kick one hood and jump on another, and kick one hood on another, like that, until finally Kaliya, he was vomiting all this black poison. And all this black smoke came out from his nose. In fact, the Brishbasis say that's one of the reasons why Krishna is black. Mekaliya naga nataya re isli mekalahu. And Kaliya, he was all about ready to die. Then all his wives came. Somehow they were devotees. So only the devotees can affect the heart of the Lord. That's why we take shelter of Prabhupada. Prabhupada writes in all his letters, you see the end, I'm always praying to Krishna that you young boys and girls advance in Krishna consciousness. Because the Vaishnava, he can influence Krishna's heart. So all the Nagapatnis, they began to pray. That please don't make us widows. Please don't do this. Save our husbands. We don't know what he did. Even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Vyasadeva, Narada, everyone wants to touch of his lotus feet, and he's getting the marks of your lotus feet on his head. What he did, we don't know, because he was such a demon. But he must have done something good. How is this possible? But please don't make us widows. So Krishna heard the beautiful prayers of the Nagapatnis. So then he saved Kaliya. And Kaliya by this time, because all that poison, he'd vomited all that poison out. Especially, most dangerous poison is enviousness of Vaishnavas. We should never be envious of Vaishnavas. So he vomited all that poison out. And then he also began to offer so many beautiful prayers, and he offered so many, because he was living in the water, so he had access to so many gems and rubies and diamonds, and he offered so many beautiful jewels to Krishna. And Krishna told him that you must leave this place. And you take all your wives and you go back to that Ramanak island. But because you have the marks of my lotus feet on your hoods, you have no fear of Gurudhi. He will worship you instead of attack you. So Kali had to go back. We were just in Fiji, and the natives, the tribals there, they tell there's a big mountain and a cave, and they say that some multi-headed serpent lives in that cave. But they don't let anybody go there. That hill somehow is very sacred for them. And these are very dangerous people. They eat human beings. So if you try to go there, they may eat you. Just like when the Angrage came there, the British came there. They attacked one and they tried to boil him. And they couldn't understand why his feet were not getting soft. Because they'd never seen shoes before. And they tell the legend that there's one guy there, he ate 92 people before he died. So they say the Kali is still there. And Prabhupada also confirmed that Kali is still there. Some of the Brishbasis say what happened was Krishna told Kaliya that you leave, you go back there and don't look back. So there's a place called Jaikund, and that village is known as Jait. Because when Krishna chastised Kaliya, then all the demigods began to chant, Jayate, Jayate, Jayate. So that village became known as Jait. And in Jait they believe that Kaliya came up all the way up to there, and he turned around. He was thinking that, go back to Ramanak Island, there's nothing there. This Braj is such a nice place. Why should I go? Even if I become a stone, better to be a stone in Braj than alive anywhere else. So he couldn't resist. He turned around and looked back, and he turned into a stone. So now this Braj Foundation, Braj Foundation, they've fixed up this place very beautifully, and they made a beautiful temple for this. There's that, you can see that stone Kali is still there. So this is their. I've never seen it in Shastra anywhere, but this is when the villagers are telling that he turned into stone in that place. And they made beautiful gardens, a beautiful path around. They even have, because this Jait is also famous for Aghasura. So there's two statues of Aghasura. The little kids can run and climb inside. A very beautiful place, a beautiful dome they put over top of Kaliya. Very beautiful place. Hare Krishna. So we'll put our voice to rest here. If there's any questions, we can try to answer them.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for wonderful Krishna's pastime, Vrindavan Lila. I have question on Kali Yavana. So Kali Yavana was the son of called Garga Rishi, and his mother was a Greek princess. So once the Yadavas had insulted Garga Rishi, so he prayed to Lord Shiva for a son who can take the revenge from the Yadavas. So my question is whether this Kali Yavana was a Muslim or what was his... because Yavana is a Muslim, it is.
I know, but Muslim religion's only been around for a little while, you know. This is 5,000 years ago. As far as I know, Yavana refers to anyone who's a meat eater. And Blecha, meat eater, and drinker, everything bad, you know. That's us. Just like sometimes I go to Bihar. Nowhere else I had this question, but always in Bihar. Aap kaun si jati ki ho? Yes, I'm Blech. Ye kaun si jati? Nowhere in India, elsewhere, anybody ever asked that, but somehow in Bihar, they're very concerned. Aap kaun si jati ki ho?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for this Yamuna glorifications. I heard that you renovated, cleaned, you were instrumental in some project of cleaning the Yamuna.
Well, I don't know, somehow they keep spending crores of rupees, but nothing ever happens, so I don't know. The problem is this, it's not a question of cleaning, just like if you're sick and the doctor gives you some medicine and you keep taking the medicine, but you don't drink any water. What will happen? Medicine will have no effect. You have to drink water to get all the impurities out. So there's a place in Haryana called Hatani Kund, and there they've made a big dam. And although the Supreme Court has ruled that no state can take more than, I think 50% or something like that, 97% of the Jamuna water is diverted there. Only 3% gets through, that sinks into the sand. And whatever Delhi flushes down their toilet and the industries dump into the bed, that's what comes to us in Vrindavan. So until water is released from there, there's no question of cleaning. It will be ineffective. So somehow if you have any political influence, you know, or know anybody who has political influence, we have to somehow or other convince them to let some more water. They do. Every once in a while they let more water come through and Jamuna becomes a little bit clean. Anyway, all we can do is pray. Or if you have some political influence or know somebody, then you try.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Yes.
Janma karma chame divyam eveti tattva taktva deham punah jano neti mameti sarjuna. जैसे भगवान कृष्ण बोलते हैं कि जन्म और कर्म है, भगवान कृष्ण जन्म और कर्म है, तो यहाँ अद्भुत कर्म कर रहे हैं भगवान श्री कृष्ण, जो बहुत से अक्षौणी सेनाओं को जरासंध को मारे हैं। तो ये तक्तो देहम पुनर्जन्म नेति मामेति स्व अर्जुन, तो एक कब एक कैटेगरी होता है क्या कि मैं ऐसा सुनूंगा तो मतलब तक्तो देहम पुनर्जन्म फिर दोबारा ऐसा जन्म नहीं लेना पड़ता, तो ऐसा कैटेगरी होता है कि एक बार सुनने के बाद ऐसा हो जाता है।
Why just one? Listen to everything. But one time, Prabhupada asked the devotees, what is the most important verse in Bhagavad-gita? Immediately everybody says, Sarvadharmam Prisheshamam. No. What is that one? Bhava mad bhakto irabhima namaskuru. No. Everybody kept repeating, quoting their favorite verse of Bhagavad-gita. Then Prabhupada said, this is the most important verse. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvata taktva deham punar janma naiti. That if anybody understands that Krishna's karma, his activities, and janma, divya, they're divine, transcendental. Prabhupada says Krishna has rasa lila, like our rasa bihari, and we all have rascal lila. But if anybody understands that Krishna's birth and activities are divya, divine, transcendental, then tyaktva deham, this comes from the word tyag, tyaktva deham, leaving this body, punar janmana, it doesn't take birth again. You just understand this fact. Probably this is most important. You simply understand Krishna in truth, tattvata. Well, it means you hear from Guru Parampara about Krishna. You understand him in truth. Then leaving this body, taktva punarjanmana. If we don't get another birth, what will happen? I'm enjoying so nicely in this body. What will happen if I don't get another body? Krishna says, Chinta markaro, mam eti, you will come to me. You'll come to me. You'll get a divine body that will never grow old, never become diseased, and never die. So Prabhupada said this is the most important. So we should always hear, just like we were discussing the other day, that Prabhupada said, I'm making all these temples just so you can come and hear about Krishna. You don't do anything else. You just come here and hear about Krishna. And you will reach perfection. Of course, the more you practice, then the faster you'll get there, but just by hearing. This is the most important.
Okay, Guruji. धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
Hare Krishna.
एक और प्रश्न है.
All right.
जैसे भारत में लोग साधुओं को शिखा देखकर पहचानते हैं और लाल कपड़ा देखकर, तो थोड़ा सा शिखा के बारे में बताइए. अपना जो शिखा जो है थोड़ा बड़ा दिखता है, तो अपना स्टोरी कुछ. शिखा शिखा शिखा.
Prabhuji, he would like to hear a specialty about your shikha.
Nothing, I just never cut it, and it just happened like this. For many, many years I never cut it, just kept growing, and sometimes I used to comb it, and then a couple of times I just left it tied up, because Sikha should always be tied, only one time. When you go to a funeral or go to the shamsham, then you untie your Sikha. Or when you're bathing, you can untie your Sikha, but otherwise be tied up. Prabhupada said, if you tie your Sikha, then Krishna is tied up in your Sikha. So sign of mourning or some great disaster, then you untie the Sikha. So always keep it tied, it's very auspicious. But somehow I just neglected to comb it, and it just became all matted like this. I didn't try to do it, it just happened. So I was too lazy to keep combing it, and one day it just went like that, so now it's like that.
हरे कृष्ण. धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
Hare Krishna. And one other story, since one of your residents here, because I mentioned that where the Jamuna turns, that place is called Barahagat. So what happened during Ras Leela, one time the gopis, they challenged Krishna that you were saying you were Vamana, you were Lord Ram, you were Kurma, you were all these things, you were Braha. We don't believe it. So then Krishna manifested his Baraha Roop at that corner there. So that place became known as Barahagat. So that must have been a Mudri of Ras Varaha Rupa. And there's beautiful, this red sandstone temple now, some sadhu has taken it over, I can't remember his name. but the old deity was stolen. I remember even in 74 when I came, all the Brijbasis were telling it was just recently stolen. But he's installed a very beautiful Braha deity there, and very nice temple and grounds and everything, very beautiful place. So this is where Krishna manifested in Rasa dance. He manifested his Braha Roop to prove to the gopis that he was also Braha. But that was a Madhurya Ras Braha Rupa. Okay, we'll all fall down at the very soft and wonderful lotus feet of that great personality who's delivering us from this, taking another birth again in this world by explaining us the truth of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai. His Grace Dinbandhu Prabhu ji ki.
Oh, I forgot that this today is also Snan Yatra. I looked in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said Mahaprabhu saw the Snan Yatra and was very happy. About cleansing of Gundicha, which is the next big festival coming. No, nice chapter is there, but nothing was, just that Mahaprabhu saw the Snan Yatra and all the devotees came from Vrindavan. And today is also Mukunda Datta. We know that he was a great singer. Whatever mood Mahaprabhu was in Puri, he used to sing the appropriate song. But previously he'd been rejected, although he was a very beautiful singer and beautiful speaker also. When the Mahaprakash was there, he didn't let Mukunda come. He neglected Mukunda. He called everybody else, but he neglected Mukunda. And devotees said, why you haven't called Mukunda? He said, he's like a chameleon. This lizard. What do you call in Hindi? Anyway, he changes colors according to the environment. Girgit. So when he's with the Mayavadis, he speaks Mayavad philosophy. When he's with the Karmis, he talks about Karmakand. And when he's with the devotees, he talks about Krishna. But Mayavad philosophy means that Krishna has no hand, no leg, no face. This is like chopping off Krishna's head, chopping off his arm. This is a big offense. So he can't come. So Mukunda decided to suicide himself. And devotees, they went to Mahaprabhu and said, please, he's going to kill himself. What shall we tell him? He said, tell him that after 1 million births, he will get my association. And devotees were shocked. 1 million births. And they went to Mukunda, and they told Mukunda, he began, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. After 1 million births, I'll see him again. I'll see him again after 1 million. Haribo. When they told that to Mahaprabhu, he said, Kalivin. It's also, Sridhar Pandit is another name for Kolavecha Sridhar. And we know, especially in Chaitanya Bhagavat, so many pastimes there, how Nimai would come and cut his price in half and then steal the banana plates and banana leaves and banana cups and so many banana flowers. He would always steal them. And every time Sridhar was so angry. And so many wonderful pastimes are there. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta found that place just behind our Jagannath Mandir, the place of Kolavecha Sridhar. And Mahaprabhu, after his meeting with the Chankazi, he came back by a Kolavecha Sridhar's place, and there was a old steel iron pot, cracked even. And Mahaprabhu was very thirsty. He took that pot and all the way he said, no, 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 no. He drank water from Sridhar's iron pot to show that everything connected with the Vaishnava is pure. And he paid special attention. It's like he neglected Mukunda, but he paid special attention to Kolavecha Sridhar and the Mahaprakash. And he said, what benediction do you want? He said, I don't want any benediction. Just that I can, life after life, be your banana seller, and life after life you come and steal from me. And even though he was dirt poor, Mahaprabhu said he's actually the most rich person because he has love for Krishna. So anyway, all these days are today. Hare Krishna.